Hello, hi, good evening, and welcome back again to this series on leadership, which is called the Leadership Conversation. As usual, I'm going to be waiting for a few seconds for you to connect before we start our conversation. So, thank you for coming back. Those who are returning, those who are coming new, thank you for joining me for this presentation. Yes, we are still waiting for a few people to join. So, yeah, just let me know if you are around. Thank you very much for those who are coming, joining new. Those who are coming back, welcome back. Right. Okay. Good. So we've been talking about leadership, haven't we? We've been talking about the centrality of leadership, haven't we? And we have been talking about the fact that nothing happens without leadership. It's one of my popular quotes, so spare me if I keep repeating it, but it's central to our discussion. Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing changes without leadership. There is no progress without leadership. And leadership sets the limits, the constraints to growth and progress in any entity. And so to realize growth, you need to grow the leadership. Otherwise, you need to change the leadership, or you cannot realize progress. You cannot realize growth. And when we began this discussion on the leadership conversation, we looked at different ways of defining leadership, and I'm not going to be repeating these ones here. I would suggest, I would highly recommend that if you haven't been part of the presentation from the very outset, you can go on my page and you can review all the previous ones. You look at all the definitions of leadership. But the definition of leadership that we are using for this presentation is that leadership is the way and manner that people who are placed in charge of organizations or any entity, the way they provide direction and guidance and steering for the organization, and this may show responsibility, it may show accountability, it may show foresight, it may show innovativeness, it may show creativity, and this may lead to organizational success and progress. Or it may be the way they show lack of responsibility, or lack of accountability, lack of foresight, lack of creativity and innovation, and this may lead to organizational retrogression or organizational failure. So we look at how people lead, how leaders lead, how directors lead, how people who are placed in positions of leadership lead. And that is the context in which we are looking at leadership for this session. And so we were trying to find out what are some of the things that you need to be doing. If you are talking about leadership as the way people lead, how do they lead? In leading, what do they do? What are the things that they engage in? What are the practices that they engage in? Are there some things that they do that are responsible for their success as leaders? And these are the things that we have been exploring in this conversation. And we look at several things. For example, we look at the ability to create a clear vision, make this very clear to everybody. And number two, the ability to put together, working with their team, a strong strategy that can help them to realize their visions and goals. We look at the fact that once they put the strategy together, they need to concentrate on the strategy. We call it strategic concentration. And then we also look at the fact that they need to improve competitiveness. That's one of the other things they do as a way of leading. Then we realize that strong character is the factor that binds all of them together. So they need to develop strong character, but in addition to strong character, they need to exercise courage, because they have to be able to take very bold decisions, sometimes very unpleasant and uncomfortable decisions, but they still have to take these decisions. because that is required to be able to prevent catastrophes from occurring to the organization in the future. We looked at the fact that they need to be good problem solvers, and that problems come in a variety of ways, and that they have to be helping their people, their managers, the people under them, to be solving the problems, to get rid of every obstacle in the way of the organization and in the way of the people, so that they can do the work and do it very, very well. Now, after problem solving, we look at the fact that they themselves have to be growing. So the leaders have to be growing. They need to build capacity for themselves to become competent. They need to improve upon their own competence and learn to do their work and do it extremely well, so that they can be on top of whatever they are doing. Now, then we look at the fact that they need to add what we call the element of creativity and innovativeness. Creativity and innovativeness. Now, and that creativity and innovativeness actually places them ahead in their industry, in whatever at all they are doing. It places them ahead of the industry. Now, in addition to creativity and innovativeness, we look at the fact that they need to be able to lead change projects, different change projects, and manage that very, very well. And then, of course, they need to be able to put together very good control systems in place. Okay. Then they also need to be very accountable, which is one of the things we are going to be talking about today. And also, they need to be good people managers, and then they need to exercise leadership excellence. But we're going to be talking about accountability today, and hopefully we'll add people management. Okay, so we will drill down to accountability. Now, one of my definitions of leadership is that it's a specific or special characteristic feature that can be found in anybody, at any role, at any level at all, and under any circumstance. And these features include responsibility, accountability, moral discipline, and creativity and innovativeness. Okay, orientation to the long term and to the future, and then ability to work with people, and so on and so forth. So accountability is one of the key components of leadership. But what is accountability? Accountability basically is just about answerability, the ability to answer to questions, to be able to answer where things go wrong, to answer where things go right. You know, and we call it blameworthiness. To be able to accept blame, not to dodge the blame, to accept the blame. When things don't go well, to accept the blame and not to look for other people to blame. Okay, you can find out who didn't do something right, but at the end of the day, the leader, it is said that the buck ends at your table. The buck ends at your table. See, the buck. It's a game that is played, and this game is played by it gets to one person's table, and then they push it and they push it and they push it. It gets to the final point where the back can no longer be pushed. It ends at somebody's table. So as a leader, the back ends at your table. So you need to be answerable. You need to be blameworthy. You need to be willing, ready to accept blame. You see, and it also means liability, so that you can accept liability when things don't go well. So you don't go around looking for ways to explain why you didn't succeed, who didn't do something well, and blaming people and doing dirty public relations gimmicks, instead of accepting responsibility and saying, okay, we are sincerely sorry. We meant all good, but things didn't turn out well. We are sorry. We guarantee you, we pledge you, we promise you that if we are going to do this tomorrow again, we are not going to do it the same way. That is liability. That's accountability. And of course, the expectation of giving account. You see, so you must expect to give account. You see, the truth is that leadership is a trust. It's a trust. It's a trust position. People give you their trust. People give you their support. People believe in you. And if you are placed in an organization and you are appointed by other people, and you are managing an organization that's not for you, then there are people who are the owners of the organization, and they have given you access to the organization's resources, access to enough authority and power to do things in the name of the organization, with the authority of the organization. So this authority allows you to make decisions on behalf of the organization. This power allows you to get things done on behalf of the organization. Then in addition, you are giving access to the organization's resources. Can be financial resources, material resources, technological resources, etc. Sometimes you get all the things. You get a vehicle, you get a house, you get all kinds of things, and you have access to the organization's money to spend on behalf of the organization. Now, this access you've been giving is not a right, it's a privileged access. You have access to these things because of the role that you are supposed to play. So it's not a personal wealth. It is not a personal entitlement. It is something that you have access to because of the role that you are supposed to play. And many people don't understand this. They take it very personal, and all they are looking for is what they will get from the position. The privileges that they will get from the position, the benefits that they will get from the position, the travels that they will get, the allowances that they will get, the city allowance, etc., etc., and then the vehicles that they will get, and access they will have to different, resources of the organization. Yes, of course, you have access, but it's important to remember that any access you have to the organization's resources is privileged. And therefore, when all is said and done, you should be able to get back to those who place you in that position to tell them how you made use of the organization's resources. That's accountability. And that's largely missing in a number of organizations around the world, particularly in the developing world. See, so accountability is one fact that you don't want to forget. It is so because, like I said, it's a privileged position, and you need to be able to go back to the people to report to them and let them know how you have made use of the power they've given to you, you've made use of the resources they've given to you, you've made use of the authority that you have been given to, or you have been given. Now, it means that you are willing to submit yourself to the scrutiny of the people who place you there. And it doesn't matter whether the person who is asking question is senior or junior. You have to answer. It doesn't matter who is asking you the question. You have to answer. You don't take it personal. You take it very official, because everybody has a right to ask you questions about how you manage the power that's been given to you, about how you manage the resources that have been placed at your disposal. And so accountability is key to leadership. And if you give account, people will respect you. You get the trust of the people. You get the people to trust you. And you can depend on them. And you can rely on them. And they can sacrifice to make sure that you succeed, that the organization succeeds. But when you are not being accountable, then you lack the trust of the people. See, that's just the point. So accountability is key. So you render regular accounts. And one thing you do is to be transparent. Transparent. The word is transparency. Don't hide anything. Don't shroud things in secrecy. Let your systems be transparent. Let your procedures be transparent. Anybody who asks questions must be giving answers. Of course, not everybody should be giving answers to every question. But those people who matter, who ask questions, they are entitled to be giving authentic answers. Not cheeky answers, but detailed answers, as much as they need to know. So they should be giving access to information on need-to-know basis. That's very important, extremely important, if you are going to be able to maintain the support of your people. And if you become accountable very well, then normally, all things being equal, there's no reason the organization should not do well. But in most organizations, they lack accountability, they lack transparency. Procedures are not transparent. So people can be embezzling funds and you don't see it. Internal audit is not working effectively. In fact, they buy the internal audit, they buy external auditors, and so the internal audit will report beautifully to management. Okay, they will report. Often they don't report to management, they report directly to the board. Yes, they will write beautiful things to the board. External auditors can be bought with money, and then they write beautiful things, and everything is okay. The organization's balance sheets and profit and loss account and the final accounts, the papers are clean, everything's cleaned up, but it will be a matter of months, a matter of years, and then we'll find all the rots that are happening or that happened in the organization. See, so accountability is key to success. Accountability is key to progress. Okay, that's accountability. Now, the second thing that I was going to talk about is about effective people management. Effective people management. But I'm going to pause because I think my time is up. So I'm just going to end it here with accountability. And God willing, tomorrow when we meet, we'll talk about effective people management as one of the things that leaders do as a way of leading, as a way of providing guidance and direction to the organization in order to realize success, in order to realize or achieve the organization's goals and objectives. So as a way of recap, we have looked at accountability. We look at accountability as answerability. We look at it as blameworthiness. We look at it as liability, accepting liability, accepting blame, becoming answerable, and making yourself liable so that when things don't go well, you don't dodge it, but you accept the blame, and then you try to find out what went wrong and correct whatever went wrong. And that the fact that accountability is key as a leader, because the position that you have and access you have, it's a privileged access. So when you do, when you account very well, become very accountable, that shows that you understand your position, and that it is not a privileged, it is not a personal right, but it is rather a privileged access. Well, we can all improve. If you haven't been doing well, as far as accountability is concerned, we can all improve. We can all become better. So I think this is an opportunity for you to reflect on your own style of leadership, to find out whether I am accountable. Am I an accountable leader? When people ask me for answers or when they ask questions, am I very strong to defend myself? Do I cover up information? Do I try to clean up information? Or do I become accountable? Do I genuinely provide information that they need to know to be able to make the right decisions? When I get it wrong, can I humbly say, I'm sorry? And I say, I will make it up. Do I have that humility to say, I am sorry? Strong people easily say they are sorry if they genuinely get it wrong. Weak people find it very difficult to say they are sorry. Yes, that is very true. It takes a strong person to say, I am sorry. So, if you are genuinely sorry, you are sorry. Say it and mean it. And don't feel guilty. Just go ahead, make sure that tomorrow you don't make that same mistake again. So, well, thank you for listening. And it's been good having you around. For those who are visiting us or who are joining us for the first time, thank you for coming. Thank you all the new guys that are joining us. I hope to come your way again tomorrow. And remember, it is 7 p.m. Normally, 5 minutes to 7, I'm online. And so invite friends, share the video, organize a watch party, invite your friends to watch along with you. Direct your friends to my page so that they can watch these lessons. These are lessons that have taken me years to put together, and these lessons are based on my book titled Leadership Stripped Bare. It was published in 2018, and I've got a lot of feedback and questions from readers around the world, and that these questions and feedbacks are what have given rise to this session that I'm doing free of charge. Normally, these are very expensive sessions that are done to organizational directors and managers, etc., etc., etc. But I've decided to do these sessions free of charge because of the passion that I have for leadership. So feel free, share with people you think that can benefit from, and so on and so forth, and invite them to join. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye for now. If you have any questions, please drop your questions. Yes, I nearly forgot. If you have questions, please drop the questions on the screen. If you have any feedback, please drop your feedback on the screen. And I will take time to answer them. Or you can visit my page, and then you drop these questions to me. If you want a copy of Leadership Street Bear to buy, just contact me and you can get your copy. Thank you once again, and God bless you. Bye for now. Good night. Bye-bye.